Jamie Horn, and I'm a compassion entrepreneur with Trades of Hope, and I'm making this video for the girls that sign up under me. Right now I have a girl who signed up and she's in a different state and she's never seen a party. So Stacy and anyone else who this might apply to, this is for you. So what I normally do at a party, just to start with, I usually try to dress, kind of nicely. Obviously not a formal prom dress, but I just want to represent well. So I try to do that, and I always wear Trades of Hope jewelry, of course. And what I do, for some reason, I really like having note cards with me. I've done a lot of parties, and I still always have my note cards. And at this point, I can really do it without them, but it's just a comfort for me, and I feel like I actually do better just knowing that there's something there. So I do carry note cards. Everybody's a little different, but and everything that I've learned that I'm going to share is really stuff that I've just gotten from other people that have just been generous and willing to share. So just kind of pick and choose what you like and make it your own. So I usually start off in, well, I think I'm going to just mostly pretend like I'm giving the party right now, and then I might insert a couple things every once in a while. So I would just start by saying, hi, my name is Jamie, and I have 3 kids. I have Oliver, who's 5, Penelope, who's 3, and Calvin, who's 1, and I really like him. And my husband, Josh, is wonderful, tall, dark, and handsome, and I love him as well. I know our hostess, so if I was talking about my friend Anna that I just did one for, I would say that I know her through a mom's group that we do together, and I would just talk about how great she is and how much I love her, and I'm thankful for her friendship, and I'm especially thankful that she was willing to host a party. And I'm especially thankful because Trades of Hope mostly, we sell our products through home parties. And if Anna hadn't agreed to host a party, Trades of Hope essentially wouldn't go on if we didn't have people who are willing to host. And so I'm just so thankful that she's willing to do that for the artisans, and that she is willing to put aside a night and just to offer up all these drinks and food to do that for our guests, and to have a good time together. So I first heard about Trades of Hope through my friend Jess, and Jess was the second person in Minnesota to start selling, and I got to go to her launch party and love the concept right away. I'm a little bit slow, and I didn't sign on for a year. And I will say I'm not a direct salesperson normally. I never really enjoyed going to parties in the past, and I never really went to jewelry, but wore jewelry. But for me, Trades of Hope was just so different than any other party, and right away I just loved it, and I love the concept. And so Jess is now my sponsor, and I'm just really thankful for her. She has a lot of experience and wisdom. So the next thing that I usually do at my parties, I just got to grab my little bag here. And I don't think most people probably do this. Someone had posted about how they do it, but I just like to, I always say, this next part, I like to keep things interactive. And so I pass out this little bag that I have filled with my kids' toys, and just say that each product in here represents why I love Trades of Hope. You don't have to do this. I don't want to stress you out. If you just want to talk about these things, that is so fine. That's what most people do. But for me, it's just another way to kind of engage my guests. And so the first one I talk about is this book. So whoever chooses this one, I would just ask them to guess what it represents and what they think it might stand for. And I tell them there's no pressure if they don't know or get it wrong. It's like not a big deal. But the book for me represents my Trades of Hope journey really started about 3 years ago. My husband and I were applying for the mission field, and actually we were accepted, and that's a really long story, but as of right now we are not going. But at that time, we just really wanted to learn about missions and poverty and how we could be part of the solution. And so we started reading a lot of different books. And one of the books we read was Half the Sky. And so this for us represents education. And we just really learned throughout that process about the importance of giving women, giving people opportunity instead of giving charity. And just how there's a lot of really well-intentioned people in the world that have gone into these poor countries and have offered charity. And in the end, a lot of times it has caused more harm than it's caused good. So I just talk about that. And then the next one I talk about is this little Spider-Man. Don't tell my son. He'd get really mad. But Spider-Man just represents a hero, a superhero. And at Trades of Hope, we like to say that we are offering these women the opportunity to be superheroes of their own story. And so I like to talk about that for a little bit. And usually I read a verse from Proverbs at this point too, just talking about, feeding your brother or sister and clothes and food. So the next one I talk about is this car. And the car, for me, most people don't guess this one, which is okay. But it just represents that with Trades of Hope, this is my passion. This is what just lights me up. And I love that I'm still able to be home with my kids, but I still get to do what I'm passionate about. And so I get to play cars on the floor with my kids during the day, but I still get to do this too. So that's pretty cool. The next thing I usually talk about is this baby chain. And I talk about how Trades of Hope represents a link in the chain, that I'm a link in the chain. And for me, I get to represent the voice of our artisans. And I always talk about how I'm just humbled and honored that I get to represent these beautiful women and their beautiful stories. But Trades of Hope is also a link in the chain because we partner with different co-ops and nonprofits that already exist, that are already on the ground, and we partner with them to market their fair trade handmade products. And it's really great in a lot of ways. A lot of times some of these groups don't necessarily have the time or energy to spend on marketing, and so we're able to partner with them. And then just also, these groups, because of Trades of Hope, are able to expand and add more artisans as they sell more products. So that's pretty cool too. So I just talk about that a little bit. And then the last one, this is an airplane, obviously. And this for me represents travel. And I love traveling. And with Trades of Hope, I love that that I have the opportunity to go on the retreat, which is in January in Florida, and I was able to go this past year, and that was an unbelievable time to be encouraged and just learn and grow. And then also I talk about the vision trip and how there's opportunities to go meet our artisans, and I am going in a couple months here to Costa Rica, and I'm super excited about that, so just kind of put a little plug in for that. So at this point in my conversation, usually I just share a little bit. I usually say when I used to think about poverty, I used to be really overwhelmed, and quite frankly, even though I had a passion for it, I would kind of turn my eye because I didn't know what I could do sitting in Minnesota, how I could help people who were in these extreme situations that were in Africa and Nepal and all across the world from me. But now that I have Trades of Hope, I feel like I have my part and that I can do my part. And not that I alone am solving world poverty, but I am doing my part. And so that's pretty cool. And I usually just mention how I'm doing my part, but I need more women to link arms with me and to join me. And it's really only when there's an army of us that we can make a big impact. Sorry, I disappeared for a minute. So yeah, just chatting about that. And then I show the video, and there's different videos you can pick from the Trades of Hope video channel. I usually just do the Trades of Hope promo video. I feel like it's a good mix of a lot of different things, and I've just kind of stuck with that, but there's lots of other great ones too you could show. And then at this point I do usually share the from our little cue cards that you get in your starter kit. I usually share the facts from cue card 2 and kind of chat about that a little bit. And then I usually pick 3 to 5 different pieces that I want to share and that I know their stories. And the longer you're a compassionate entrepreneur, the more stories that you're going to learn and that are going to touch you. And so I just encourage you to share the ones that really make your heart beat fast. And when I started, and I still kind of do this sometimes, I would just share the cue cards because it was easy. I felt good doing it. And then I do like that the cue cards have the pictures on the back. So I'd usually pass around the product and then pass around the cue card as well so that my guests could kind of see pictures of the artisans. I think that's really cool. Yeah, so I do that. And then the next thing I do, and this is in the cue cards, I've kind of made it my own now. A lot of it's from Erin Woods, from learning from her and other people. But I just share about how after seeing the jewelry and hearing the stories, that there are 3 ways that people can be involved: shopping, hosting, and joining. And I usually say I'm going to talk about them in reverse order because the most important is hosting, or I'm sorry, is joining. Because every time someone joins Trades of Hope, that's another person who is going to parties and marketing these products and making more people aware of Trades of Hope. And every time there's a party, say there's 10 guests, that's 10 new people who purchase products, who hear about Trades of Hope. And every time a CEO goes to a party, it's exponential how many artisans are able to feed their families and make a difference. And so, oh shoot, I gotta pause this.